Or I've seen people do the opposite, where they've assumed the eyes are closed whilst they're still open, and they talk about the eyes being comfortably closed while the eyes are still wide open. Again, it creates a disjointed part of this, the experience. If you take all your hypnotic processes as power loops, which are made up of mini loops, which are made of process instructions, which are made up of suggestions, you cannot get stuck, because the suggestions create processes. Those processes feed into mini loops. Those have certain outcomes. When you've achieved that, you move on to the next mini loop, like a stepping stone. And once you've finished stepping all the stones that you've laid out for yourself, you're done. You've done what you've come to do. You can finish up, right? So it becomes very simple and straightforward to create your own processes. So, coming back to what we're doing now, Paul, you have your 3 steps. Now let's focus on your first mini step as an exercise in developing your mini loop, which will of course create your power loop. What kind of process instructions can you give them in order to develop a mini loop to recall a pleasant memory? Throw some just do a brainstorm right now. You don't have to put them together in any particular order. Just throw out some simple suggestions and some process suggestions that will help people to remember pleasant or experiences where they feel good about themselves.
I guess as a starting point, there'd be no harm in suggesting they put themselves in a safe place.
Okay, so actually now you've just started with an extra mini loop, which is excellent. Notice that, by the way, what you're saying now, you're actually basically saying is, I'm going to add a stepping stone before I do any of these other things, which is a safe place, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is, by the way, this will happen to you when you do hypnotic work with people all the time. You'll decide that you want to throw in your standard power loop, but somehow there's something missing, so you'll throw a quick introductory mini loop in beforehand, and again, it's a no-brainer, because you know all the pieces. It becomes smooth working, that you just pull the pieces you need and put them together in a line to fit what you have, right? So, let's say you start them off with a safe place. Throw out some, you don't have to make them make sense here, you don't have to put them in any particular order. As a sort of brainstorm, I want you to run through some suggestions, either simple suggestions or process suggestions which are already linked together, that will help them find a safe place.
Just the favourite place when they're on holiday,
okay.
A happy memory from their childhood,
okay.
Or indeed an imaginary place,
okay. Now,
where they can feel particularly safe and comfortable.
Excellent. So now just create sort of some simple suggestions out of these. For example, imagine a place you can feel comfortable in. Think about a safe vacation spot, or whatever it is. So choose whichever way you want to do it, and just throw out some suggestions designed to build that experience up, but you don't have to link suggestions in any way. Just throw them out as a brainstorm.
Further suggestions related to getting the client into a safe place.
Exactly, just throw out exactly that. So throw out a whole bunch of suggestions. They don't have to be related to each other, just designed to get someone into a safe place.
Imagine yourself in a safe, comfortable place, perhaps from your childhood.
Excellent, that's one.
Somewhere.
Give me
Okay. Create for yourself inside a safe, comfortable environment, somewhere you can instantaneously go to, feel, be as comfortable as you wish.
Excellent.
Safe and secure in the knowledge, etc., etc.
Excellent. Throw another one out.
Imagine yourself in an especially secure, comfortable, reassuring environment.
Excellent.
An imaginary place, perhaps.
Okay, very good. So again, notice how it actually becomes very simple to come up with simple suggestions that will let people have that experience. Now what I want you to do is start making a little bit more process instructions. In other words, remember how, with Sean's example, he found it easier to go into hypnosis. If I said to him, go into hypnosis, that was a very direct instruction. If I said to him, close your eyes and go into hypnosis, it made the process a little bit easier for him because he had something to piggyback off, right? So I want you now to create a little simple process that will help people do that. So let's assume they're in trance, you're going to get them to experience a safe place. What kind of process instructions could you give them? So processes can you run them through that will help them create a safe place inside their minds?
Perhaps to focus on initially feeling more relaxed and calm.
Excellent. So put that into hypnotic language. So focus on your feelings of being relaxed and calm.
And as you lie there, as you lie there in this comfortable position, find yourself feeling more and more mentally calm. And the more mentally calm you feel and become, you notice the more relaxed you are.
Now link that onto your first stepping stone.
Sure. And this wonderful relaxation and mental calmness allows you to open up internally. It allows you to open up internally and locate a safe, comfortable place that you can return to at any time you wish.
Perfect. And let me pause you there.
I ask, yeah, and so on.
Excellent. So technically, you've already created a mini loop, right? You've achieved your outcome. You run them through a process of they focus on the relaxation that's there. The relaxation makes them feel comfortable and calm. That calmness lets them focus inside and bring that calmness into a safe place. That's kind of the process you went through in that mini loop, and you've achieved your outcome. If you haven't, of course, you can always cycle through that a bit more to get other things. Notice how you use both a random link and a pseudo-logical set of instructions to make those transitions, right? It doesn't matter if you are aware what those terms mean or not. The point is you have choice. And with different people, you throw different choices in to make it seem even more rich. Now you have the first part of the mini loop. Let's create very quickly the second part of your mini loop, which was to think of a memory where they felt good, right? Now do exactly the same thing you did for the safe place, for that place where they felt good. Go for it.
As you enjoy this experience in the safe place, perhaps you find yourself easily and naturally recalling a wonderful, pleasant memory, a memory perhaps from an earlier time in your life when you felt especially good and positive about yourself.
Perfect, right? So now you have a second stepping stone. Now do you notice how, going from, hey, give me a hypnotic process that will get people to improve self-esteem, which could be a big chunk that could be overloading, by breaking it down to these simple little sequences, it's actually easy to create virtually infinite amounts of hypnotic content. You're doing it right now on the fly, because you know what things you're looking for. You know what stepping stones reach a particular outcome, which is your process, your power loop. You know how to set up each little stepping stone to fit the next one. You know how to create the content of each stepping stone with the language you already have learned as part of your hypnotic training. It becomes easy, it becomes very simple. The only thing that's missing right now is practice. Remember we talked about right at the beginning. It's 1%, genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. At this point is where the 99% of perspiration begins. Now, before I give you guys homework, I'm going to, and I will be homework for this session and like the other sessions, I just want to throw the lines open to everyone to check if there's any questions or comments you want to make so far, because we're about to wrap up today's session. Does anyone have any comments or questions so far?
Paul here again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess you mentioned at the start that power loops is a concept unique to your masterclass and so on. Just again, what might be its closest relative in sort of general hypnosis theory, if you like?
Okay, so can you repeat that question? I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
The concept of power loops, as you said,
Yeah.
unique to the masterclass. I just wondered if it was related to any particular more mainstream hypnotic theory.
Okay, in terms of the ideas that have come to influence me into creating these, is, as I said, partly it's looking at outside of hypnosis disciplines where people have literally taken a particular practice and excel in it. We're talking about things like special forces soldiers who are just crazy the way that they can control an environment. We're talking about musicians who can create amazing pieces of music and play them. We're talking about sports people who are working literally at the peak of human performance, etc. Okay, so we looked at what they do, and I've decided what is the pattern that is consistent between all these different fields. And I looked at hypnosis, and I found that the same pattern exists, but unfortunately in much fewer people, because it's not as well-developed a field as these others are. Then I looked at it in terms of what exists that begins to lead in this direction. In NLP, for example, there's this idea of creating, language patterns. Everyone talks about hypnotic language patterns. In fact, everyone talks about hypnotic language patterns, but no one actually tells you what a hypnotic language pattern is or how to construct them. They'll give you at best how to create a set of process instructions. The more you do this, the more you do that, right? I have seen one or two people add some very sophisticated ways of putting language together in a certain sequence that create like a bullet that creates a trance effect, and that can be very powerful. But no one has actually talked about how to put all these little language patterns together in a way that creates a cumulative impact. You have one pencil, you can break it. 2 pencils, you can snap. 5, you have problems with. 10, virtually impossible. By the time you have 100 pencils, if you can get your hands around them, they're impossible to snap. And this is what language patterns do. When you put language patterns together in sequence, they become virtually impossible to break. But the question then becomes, you can't just randomly throw language patterns out there, because if they're all over the place, it's just like having pencils lying all over the place, there's no cohesion. So what creates that cohesion? And the cohesion is the mini loops and the process loops. It's working backwards from your outcome. What's the big outcome? Self-esteem. How do you create self-esteem? Well, you get someone to remember feeling good, then to remember that over and over again until they start feeling it in all kinds of different places in the future. Then you get backwards from that. How do you get them to make that happen? Well, in order to make them feel good, they've got to remember a feel-good memory. Okay? So now we drill down into details on that one. Now the language patterns become useful because you're trying to achieve a simple and very specific outcome. Make them remember something that makes them feel good.